Damn fucking OBS. Piece of shit. Hang on. Almost there. Is this shit working now? Maybe not. Yeah, I think it's working now. What's up, someone saying? What's up? Corrupt was here from Twitch too. I launched earlier and no sound was working in my OBS. Everything reset. I had to restart my computer, I had to reset all the audio. Disaster. And I scheduled the stream all week too, so people could be waiting. And then that stream didn't even work. I had to delete it and start over. But anyway, here we are. Hello. Here's my mug. Now, let's get to the good stuff. Okay. Cheers. Cheers. I got coffee, no alcohol. Right. I'm not drawing punish tonight though. I'm taking a little break and doing some fan art. Right. Got it sketched out. Get it finished up here. Try something a little different too. I'm going to do less rendering and more shadows. A little simpler style. There we go. Everything's working. Yay! At last. I love Striker. I was always afraid to draw him though. He's got those 3 arms. It's kind of tough. Let's see here. Alright, here we go. Who's Striker? Yeah. Well, you know, if you remember, he always wore. I'm trying to think of the correct name. Tank tops, wife beaters. They always have the big arm holes, so I guess you could just get that and stretch it out. He goes to Target because he tears them pretty quick, so he just gets plain shirts from Target. Cheap. Yeah, he ain't rich. He's just a mercenary. But he doesn't get a lot of money. I don't know, was Cyberforce ever rich? I always forget, well, the stories were pretty weak back then, but I always forget where they're actually from, if they're government agents, even with Youngblood. I guess they were celebrities, actually, I realized. Not as much government agents, but Cyberforce, they were like an elite team created by, you know, like the people who created them, like the tech company, but I forget what they were doing, government work, or what their exact purpose was. Like, do they get paid for it? How do they get by? I'm gonna go into inking in a bit. I just want to get this guy's hands figured out here. These guns. Plus I gotta calm down. I'm all wound up. I was getting all pissed off at the computer. It's like, God, I'm gonna throw everything and storm out. But I want to try to get some consistency going with these streams, though. At least once a week. Jesus, maybe twice, but still gotta get the one day down. Yeah, I never questioned it either. I didn't really care about the story, honestly. I just, especially with Mark Silvestri, I just loved his art so much. I was like, just draw cool characters with cool action. I don't give a fuck what their purpose. As long as they're smashing each other up, which I think they kind of knew. That's probably why the stories were so weak. No one really cared. But we're paying the price now when we go back and try to read it. It's all pretty cheesy. Move this gun down a bit. There we go. Cheating, I'm using a 3D gun. Yeah, same. And I got, well, I guess it was a Kickstarter, and came a little while back, somewhat recently, but the, this thing. The Complete Cyberforce Volume 1. Let's see. So, from the Kickstarter, and it's pretty fun to look at after all this time. I wish there was a black and white version, though. I've also been looking at Mark Silvestri's old X-Men in black and white with the essentials, like this. Let's see. There we go. Alright, last hand up here. Oops. Go, alright. How you been, dude? Have you seen Rob streaming lately? I haven't seen him in a few days. Not as often as usual. He must be busy. I see his regular videos, but his live stuff I haven't seen. And we didn't get to stream last weekend either. Can't do it for a couple weeks because I'm heading out of town. Going to Japan. Oh, I think, yeah, it's... when my OBS reset itself, I bet you if I go like this, you won't hear me. See, I bet when I go full screen, it doesn't work because the audio reset for all my scenes in OBS, and I fixed them for my main ones, but the one with just me full screen, I didn't fix yet, so probably mutes me when I get there. But anyway, I was just saying the Essential X-Men I was showing was number 8, and hopefully they're not too expensive. Yeah, he might just be busy too. Hopefully everything's all right. I assume so. I mean, there's nothing wrong. I mean, me and Chuck chat on Instagram sometimes, so. But I do like watching his stream sometimes when I'm drawing because it motivates me to keep going too when I'm feeling kind of tired. Like tonight, I almost forgot to do the stream tonight because I was sitting here sketching and I was starting to doze off at my desk. Didn't sleep too well last night, but then I realized and jumped in. Yeah, you ever been to Japan? Someone saying? This will be my first time going to a non-English speaking country, actually. But it's gonna be a trip. I'm gonna come back super inspired, I think. It's gonna be a trip. I want to go to this famous art store there too. That's like everybody goes there. It's sort of well known, especially with artists. It's tell you what it's called here. Let's see, collections. Yeah, it's called Tokaido Shinjuku Honten. It's listed as a cards and stationery store, but it's an insane art store for like it's all like half the store is dedicated to just like manga artists, which I've never seen an art store do. So that's pretty awesome. They sell halftone, zipatone, like on sheets to do manually there, which you can't get anywhere in the US. So definitely gonna get a huge stack of that to bring back. I'm bringing an extra backpack to carry everything that I get there. But yeah, just lots of cool pens, and there's some like cool comic paper I might try there. I'm just gonna stock up, bring in some extra money, because I don't know when I'll get there again, if ever. Yeah, every comic artist I know, like, that's been there, always makes a point to go there, because for that reason. I mean, an art store dedicated to like, well, a large portion of it dedicated to anybody dedicating an area to comic artists is like unheard of, so that's gonna be pretty awesome. Wonder if I can make some extra money. I'll buy some halftone and bring it back to the US and sell it. I'm gonna price gouge for it too, like crazy. Yeah. Probably good though. I know some people will go on eBay here and they'll spend like $50-100 on a pack of zipatone sheets to use that are used, but there's just a bunch left over. They'll just give them a stack of randomly used to different degrees zipatone, and they'll just use all the pieces that are left and cut out of it. Which seems crazy, but I want to start working more analog too though, so that'll help. I mean, that's what I want it for. I can't do it digitally like I do right now in Clip Studio. Oh yeah, I want to do less detail, more blacks here. closer. What? What's that? What were you saying? What about? Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. Oh yeah, I know. I can't believe someone hasn't started that here in the U.S. But maybe just us niche comic book artists are the only ones that'll ever buy it. Which, because I mean, you can do it digital now, so maybe it's not worth it. It's just kind of a lost art of like old school illustrators. I don't know. I mean, I'm surprised they even sell it there because like so much manga is, well, a lot of manga is still done on paper too. So, but there's a lot of manga that's done digitally in Clip Studio too, and Clip Studio has great halftone filters. So, actually, this is too detailed. I'm trying to use this as an exercise in a little bit less, not overdoing it on the details with musculature and stuff. Sometimes I draw on every single muscle and it's excessive. It can look cool sometimes, but it's overkill and it takes freaking forever. Trying to simplify a bit. Yeah, if I can. He's got a sexy model pose here, sticking his navel forward. But yeah, if you're just browsing eBay, killing time, look up Zipatone. You might see some of the weird deals are on there that people get. Of course, now it's probably like a known thing, and people buy it from Japan and come back and sell it, and it's probably cheap now. Right after I say that. But apparently this is one of the best times to go to Japan too, because the US dollar is like is the strongest it's been in a long time. So you get a lot of bang for your buck there right now. So another reason to go buy a bunch of art supplies. I want to go check out some comic book stores to see what they're like in Japan, where they are a lot more fluent and supported and successful. See what they're doing right that the Marvel and DC will never seem to get right or figure out, even though it's obvious. I was actually listening to a interview with Robert Kirkman the other day on the Liefeld podcast, but it was a really interesting one. He was talking about all the new G.I. Joe and Transformers launches they've been doing. I forgot what to say about it. Okay. And they've all got, like, I think Transformers #1 now has 20 reprints of the first issue. Eevee Monster, what's up? What's up? Welcome to the stream. Just talking Japan and comic supplies and stuff like that. But yeah, Robert Kirkman was talking about how they're up to like the 20th edition of Transformers #1 and like 12 of #2, and part of the reason for that is which is another thing that Marvel and them can't seem to figure out, is he wants to make sure that there's always a #1 on the shelves when people go into the comic store, even if it's been a while since it came out. He always did it with Walking Dead too. He always either had a early issue or like a #1 collected, so that when someone's talking about it and they're like, oh, I saw the show, or my friend told me about it, and they can go in and be like, I want to get started drawing it, they always have the #1 to get started so that they don't miss out or like change their mind because they didn't have it in stock. So, which is so true. I do always notice it, especially Walking Dead. It felt like any time you could just buy Walking Dead and start up from the beginning. Yeah, 20 reprints, and each time they've done it, there's like multiple covers too, at least 2 or 3 covers, so many out there. But yeah, it did. Actually, I don't even know comics numbers now, but it did huge numbers. Oh yeah, Evie, have you or your friends seen the new comic from Robert Kirkman's company, Skybound? Hey Cruff, what's up, dude? Sorry about earlier. You got there right when I started, but for some reason my streaming software decided to reset everything, and everything was jacked up, and I had to do a complete reboot to get it all and reset it all. So, but welcome back. But yeah, as I was saying, someone's saying the Transformers, like the first collected, is doing well, and I'm not sure if you've seen that, but if you haven't, speaking of Rob did a review on the whole first trade, and it's really good. Daniel Warren Johnson, he's just such a good writer and artist. The way he draws the Transformers is absolutely awesomely insane. Yeah, you missed the first disaster, Evie. I set up I'm trying to do a stream every Monday now, and I had a pre-planned stream announced for a week, and it was sitting there, and then I went live and nothing worked, so I had to cancel it. So I had to start a completely new stream, so whatever though. I'm still kind of new to the overall streaming, so it's not like I had it's not like Asmongold or something with 12,000 people waiting to listen to me when I start. Oh, Crow, how'd you like that? Curious. I myself actually liked it, but I'm also a fan of the actor and of Moon Knight, so... One of my first superheroes I created when I was younger was called Shadow Knight. It was such a ripoff of Moon Knight, it's ridiculous. Oh, thanks, Evie, appreciate it. Yeah, this is, if you're not familiar with Cyberforce, an old 90s comic, this is one of the characters from that. His name's Stryker. But yeah, my first kind of comic I did on my own when I was like 17 or something, it was called Shadow Knight. And he had a symbol on his chest. It was like a moon with a circle cut out of it, and it looks just like Moon Knight when he flies with his cape, you know, and it makes like the half moon thing. It's such a ripoff. But his power's a little different. He just, if he saw it coming, he was invulnerable. But if you shot him in the back or something and he didn't see it coming, then he would be like a normal human and it could hurt him. So, that was his power. And the whole thing was drawn from ripping off Rick Leonardi panels from X-Men and Daredevil. Because I was trying to learn to draw. Just picking my favorite panels and drawing them. Oh my god, there's Moonshade and Midnight too. I don't even know if I realized that. Maybe it was subconsciously snuck in. Hey, Mr. D-Man, what's up, dude? What's going on? Welcome. But yeah, trying to go. I love Cyberforce though, so I'm gonna try to go through and draw a whole bunch of them over the next, well, whenever I get a chance here, when I'm doing fan art. I want to draw some of their villains too. There's like this team of villains that came in the first few issues that have some really cool characters that I want to draw. Oh yeah, okay, that's right. That's right. Yeah. Yeah, the Midnight series started out really cool too. The first, or the TV series, the first couple episodes where it was such a mystery as to what was even going on with him when he blacked out. It was really cool, and then he just wake up and everybody's just slaughtered. What's his name? Oscar Isaac? Is that his name? The actor? He's awesome. I like him and stuff. Wow, do you know the comic that well that you recognize those lines? I don't even know it that well. Of course, I've always been kind of like I was with 90s comics. I didn't read the stories all that deep. I just liked the art and the character designs. Sometimes I didn't even retain some of the story, like specific stuff like that. There's like a lot of Moon Knight, the modern Moon Knight though, they draw him in that suit with the white mask, which I know is one of his designs, but I kind of prefer him in the full cape garb all the time. Partly because that's the one I ripped off as a kid. But hey, you're young, you're just learning to draw, having fun, so who cares? It's more like an homage. Oh, I see. Yeah, like the breakdowns of it. I should watch some of those because there's probably a lot of Easter eggs in Moon Knight I didn't even realize. I kind of want to watch the show again too. I watched it as it was coming out new, so it's been a while. But I did really like it. I also want to rewatch Andor. It's my favorite series because the second season of that's starting in a couple months, 2-3 months. Oh, you know what? I forgot he has the metal hand. Wait, what does that look like? Oh yeah, that's still pretty good too. The what's that coming up in this? Here. Gotta get reference for his hand here. Yeah, the Iron Man trilogy is still great. I like it. The second one's probably the weakest in my opinion, but the first one I still love, except for one thing. The music is really dated in it, I think. But I'm pretty critical of music and shows too. It's kind of like the first John Wick too. The first John Wick I think is great, but the music is just terrible. I thought that when it first came out though with that one. I was like, I didn't like John Wick at first, and I think it's because I thought the music was just so bad. But I love all of them now. But I did rewatch that too, and I still didn't like it. Didn't bother me as much now because I'm expecting it, but yeah. Man, I don't know what some of these 90s guys were thinking with these designs. There's so many, like, kind of pointless details here that take forever to draw. These little grooves in every finger and stuff. Like, why do you torture yourself so? Kind of like I did the, a couple weeks back, I drew Impact, the big silver guy, and his costume is deceptively complex too. I thought it would be simple. That's partly why I tackled him first, but then I learned it's complicated and doesn't really make sense. And Mark Silvestri never once, first of all, he never once drew the entire costume in one full body shot, and he never drew it the same way twice either. So, and it's actually really hard to find just full body shots. Like, probably because everyone realized that. They're like, I don't know how to draw this character, so I'm just going to hide most of his body. Jim Lee drew him too, but Jim Lee would just draw him like with the fist coming out so it hides half his body, so you can't see any of his costume. So, but I'd already sketched mine out. It was just him standing frontal posing for the camera, so I had no choice but to interpret it. Some more shadow going under here. It's a light from above, so this could actually be a little heavier. Yeah. Well, the weird thing was too is the costumes didn't really make sense either. Like, he'd have these details where like he'd have these straps, like his whole outfit was basically spandex, like tight spandex over his silver body. But they'd have like these grooves in the spandex that would come over his shoulders, but then they'd be sitting on top of like these three-dimensional square pads on his pecs. But like the spandex would be on top of it holding it down, but there wouldn't be any shadow or like gap in the material to go up and fit it, so it didn't make any sense. I'm just like, what the? And there was a lot of stuff like that on his body. The way it would wrap around on his arm, but then it would turn into like shoulder pads, but you could still see muscles through it, and it's just like it didn't make sense. I think Silvestri just he probably designed him on the page while he was drawing. He had an idea in his head and just drew him. Made him up the first time he had to draw him in a panel, and he was just cruising along high speed. It didn't really, I mean, it's his character, he doesn't care if it's consistent, it's close enough. And I never cared till I had to draw him. I never noticed, so fuck a wee ball. But yeah, so which one are you on for rewatching Iron Man? Are you still on the first, or how far have you gotten so far? I'm gonna do the standard 90s belt here, where it's just a square buckle with a shiny surface. Lazy belt buckles. Oops. Tangent. Watch out for tangents. Farther there. Avoid that tangent. glove on this hand, so. I'd vote for manga myself, but I'm not a big fan of the webtoons format, that kind of vertical reading, but I do know it's popular though and looks good on phones. I guess it's my old school sensibilities. I like to be able to zoom out and see the whole page as a whole too, kind of see how all the art flows and leads the eye. But it's another one of those things most people probably don't care about. Just you subconsciously sort of follow the eye if the artist did it right. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess some people would argue maybe it doesn't though, because it's a lot longer. Like the whole story is just in one constant scroll. But I'd rather stop and turn the page. It's kind of like, I feel like you can control the pacing a little better too with what each latch panel, especially on a page turn, what the panel is like little cliffhangers every page turn to try to keep the interest going throughout the issue. It's getting to be a lost art these days too. One of the other awesome things about the 90s, they knew how to do that, even though the writing was terrible. But so many comics now are just, the pacing and layout is boring. Like amazing art skills, but I don't know if it's the writer controlling that or editors or what, but I feel like the layouts could be way more exciting. Yeah, I guess it depends on your market though too, because I know some comics make pretty good money on webtoons. Although I hear a lot of weird stories about them too, about how their scheduling is, how they're, if you're one of their regular artists and how they pay out. Another artist I follow, his comic on webtoons, they just kicked him off for no reason. It's called Safely Endangered. They just ended. I don't know if they kicked the whole series off of there, because I actually read it on Instagram when he posted it, but they stopped publishing any new stuff, so it's like a huge revenue stream of his that just like for no reason out of nowhere they just cut off, and so he's kind of scrambling now, which is not cool. It's like running a business like that, you gotta give people a little notice or a reason or something. I don't know, but they don't care. Just got down a teeny bit. That'll work. Yeah, that'll work, because that goes in front of his finger. Yeah, there's some weird ones on there. And Kinky is right. Some weird kinky stuff. A lot of furry stuff too, which some may or may not consider that a kink or weird or either way. Not my thing, but it's not as bad as bronies though. No offense if there's a brony out there. But... Hey, what's up, Kill Panda? I'm actually not sure. I assumed you kind of had to do it that way, but well, yeah, I don't know, because there's actually a couple American comic artists that I know. Sanford Green is one of them. He did the comic series Bitterroot, but he had an old series he did called 100 or 300. I forget. And he put it on there even with sound effects, and he reformatted the comic to be that vertical scrolling. So I don't know if that's just because he did that because that's the popular style and he just wanted to kind of match that for more viewers, or if that's required. It's hard to say. I don't know though. It's a good question though, because if I were forced to go, I definitely don't want to do it. It'd be hard to draw that way too, because like I like being able to go like this if it's a whole comic page and kind of look at the whole thing, you know. And if I'm like scrolling, there's no way to zoom out to see the whole thing, or else your whole comic would be like, you know, like this long or something, you know, like zoomed out so you can see the whole thing, and then you got your panels here going up the whole thing. That'd be like one page. It's like crazy. I don't know how people work that way, but again, maybe that's old man syndrome. Damn kids! Oh, cool, dude. I'll check it out. So wrap up here. Yeah, I like standard comic pages and just the way, the whole art form of pacing and leading your eye and the way it works. So. Gun going here. This song's so cheesy. Synths and electric guitar. I see some guy on stage playing this, freaking out with his 12 keyboards, and he's playing one note on each of them across, stretched out as far as he can go, like old 80s synth guys. So funny. It's like they're playing one synth line of 3 notes and they have 12 synthesizers hooked up on stage. Yeah, it does, and I always see it. I'm always kind of like curious, like maybe I should try the vertical thing just once before I knock it, you know. But I just can't bring myself to do it. I'm always like, I don't want to waste that much time just to experiment, you know, because it's quite a commitment too. Because I mean, one scrolling thing is it's kind of a lot of pages of art. But it's interesting because it's a bit of an art form too, how you split that up. Because people have a way of keeping the art pretty minimal so you can get through it faster. It's just a bunch of like talking heads a lot of the time, but, which might be the appeal. I think some people like that kind of storytelling style because it's gonna be slice of life stuff, or as Cruff said, like weird kinks and fantasies and stuff too. Yeah, I'm too lazy too. I'm sort of lazy, but I also have ADHD, so it's takes a lot of mental gymnastics to keep myself focused and working for long periods, regardless of how much I'm enjoying it. So just doing this stuff can be kind of exhausting mentally, and I don't want to add a whole new thing like vertical comics to suck up what time I can manage to squeeze out of my brain as it is. This guy isn't going to be completely accurate, but a step above a Rob Liefeld gun, which is just 3 boxes. Here's a Rob Liefeld gun. This is a complex Liefeld gun, though. There you go. And then have the colorist color the hell out of it. Even that's complicated. A lot of time they're just more like this. Right? It's got like a little box. There. I swear he's drawn those recently. Deadpool team up and batter blood and stuff. Or like the Snake Eyes one we did. I shouldn't be talking so much shit. I don't hate Rob Liefeld. I kind of dig his, I dig him in his unique way. And I love his podcast, so he'll hear this someday and hate me, and then I'll be bummed out, because I'd still be pretty stoked to meet the guy someday. He does just crank out tons of characters. They're all pretty fun to draw, regardless of how dumb they are, or if they're derivatives of other ones, and they're still fun. I like it. And who else is coming up with that many original characters all the time? And his photographic memory of comics history is amazing. That's one reason his podcast is so good. High definition disorder, yeah. Black most of this stuff out under here. A little more high contrast. I want to get into a little less detail and more spotting blacks and stuff, because I've been looking at the artist edition of Batman Year One and the Daredevil by Mazzucchelli's, and they're just so good. And I love that art style. It makes me want to draw like that, and I draw nothing like that, but it is just an expert use of contrast. I love detail, high detail rendering too, but it takes twice as long, and sometimes it can become a crutch to cover up flaws too, which I'll freely admit. But all comics like that. That's what style is. You're owning your mistakes and making mistakes with confidence and consistently. Right. Just do this over. There's supposed to be a flashlight on this gun from the reference model I got for it, but I'm not sure what they look like. I want it to be more like one of those lasers. Can't you scan them in pieces, Cruff, so you don't have to waste them? I don't know if you're using Photoshop, but Photoshop has that auto stitcher, so you don't even have to take the time to like match them and clean up. You can just scan it in like 4 pieces and then run it through the auto stitcher, and it'll put it all together for you. It'll fix all the perspective from the pages and the dark spots and blend it all for you. Just for now. Let's see. Speaking of lazy DFC, yeah. Definitely lately. I think MCU is going to be taking a back seat for a while, and DC is finally going to have their day for a little while. I really hope Superman's good. I haven't loved a Superman movie since Christopher Reeve. I'm not a fan of Zack Snyder either, but I did really like Man of Steel. Aside from how his father dies. I won't get off on that tangent again, but I still didn't love it as much as the Christopher Reeve movies. I still try though. I watch all the Superman shows. Like I just watched the end of Superman and Lois. I don't know if anyone watches that. It's like CW level Superman soap opera, but I loved it. I watched every episode, and they canceled the series. It was supposed to go for like I think 7 or 8 years. Oh, this looks terrible. Let me just do it right now. But they canceled it after I think 3rd or 4th because they're launching the new Superman film, which has a different actor, so they just decided to end it. But at least they gave him a heads up and a chance to like end it properly instead of just ending with no notice, and then stories are just unfinished. But yeah, I don't know if anyone watches it, but I really liked the ending. It was good. It's very heartfelt and touching. I don't want to talk about it though because I don't want to spoil it if anybody ever does watch it, because it was an interesting series. It was a very different, well, not very different, but it was a different take than the usual on Superman. This one, he's married to Lois, she knows he's Superman, and they have 2 kids together. And the kids, well, at least one of the kids starts having powers early on. Same as his father, Superman, you know, and they all live in Smallville and stuff, and Clark works at the paper with Lois. She runs an independent newspaper. And Lana Lang is there, but she's married to another guy. She still lives in town, and she has a kid, and her daughter is dating Clark's son for a while. But, you know, their relationship's always in turmoil because he was just to disappear because he's got stuff going on with his dad, and then he starts getting powers, and he's trying to do saves and stuff, so he has to disappear, but he can't tell it. Yeah, I could agree with that. DC has more like cosmic heroes too, like space stuff, which is like, probably why it's not as relatable sometimes, because it depends on what you want. Because yeah, like, you know, New Gods and stuff like that, all the Kirby like space characters and stuff, I think are, you know, Marvel's got Silver Surfer and Galactus, but that's about it to compare with all the DC cosmic characters, all the Dark Side universe, and all those guys are pretty cool. Did the new Spider-Man cartoon start, or are you just talking about the trailer? Because I am looking forward to it. It looks cool. I actually had some friends who worked on it. Because I work, I don't know if any of you know, but you know, I'm doing comics here. But my day job as a profession is I'm a previs artist, so I do cameras and visual effects. I currently work for Blizzard on their cinematics team, but before I worked at Blizzard, I was working over at Paramount on the SpongeBob Sponge on the Run movie, which was actually a lot of fun. But as that was wrapping up, I was doing some interviews for my next gig, and I went and interviewed with the What If crew over at Marvel Studios on the DC lot, and that was exciting. I didn't get the gig. I think I was a little over enthusiastic about the wrong thing, because I have some personal projects I do that are like kind of 3D animated style that I was working on in Blender, and I brought some of that stuff in because, you know, I knew they were trying to go stylized, but it was just a previs gig, so it was more about storytelling and camera, not rendering style and you know, all that tech. And I was just going off about that, and I think the guy thought, you know, maybe I wouldn't be focused enough on the right things. Who knows? But in the end, I didn't get the job, and I was super bummed. And then I had some other friends not only work on that, but they also were working on the Spider-Man cartoon. And I was just like, man, those sound so cool. I'm so jealous, you know. I didn't hate my job either. Like, Blizzard was cool, but man, like my childhood self was going, God, working on What If, you know, so. But the thing is a lot of my friends worked on Spider-Man, and they finished the first season, and they just kind of shut down the team. I don't know if they ramped back up to do a season 2 or not, or maybe they're waiting to see how this does, but that was like almost 2 years ago, and I thought the show was never going to come out, and then lo and behold, they have this this trailer came out, so I'm excited for it. Okay. I don't know. Tumblr art style. How is that Tumblr art style? I don't know that reference. I mean, I know what Tumblr is, but I mean, to me, it looks like comic books, kind of. I mean, in a different way than Into the Spider-Verse looked like comics, which I kind of dig it. But I have to watch a whole episode though too. But I guess if you, I might be biased too, just because of my personal tastes, because I do the same thing. I work in Blender and I make little animated shorts and stuff. I've done a couple music videos. If you go to my YouTube channel, if you haven't, anybody's watching, if you haven't been, You can check it out there. I have a couple. I did a music video for AWOL Nation for the Beds Are Burning remake, and then I did one called Sci-Fi Pilot for Ginger Bear. I don't know who that guy is though. And like some animated shorts I'm doing for my series, and they're like this kind of techno cyberpunk thing with rockabilly. But they're all kind of 3D animated, but they look comic booky. It's very much that style. So, you know, I'm very much in for trying out different comic book and 3D styles. So I might be sort of biased to like it more than other people just based on that fact, because I get excited about things they're trying. So might get a little blinded from that. But yeah, if you've seen my animation, you'll see what I'm talking about. Shameless plug. Not that I'm monetized or anything. Alright, let's try some other stuff. Take a break. Finish the gun later. Oh, I gotta do this gun too, it's on the way. Let's get this arm going though. I like to jump around on the page if I start getting bored, you know. Hard surface stuff's kind of boring. I like drawing musculature, as George Takei would say. Musculature. Oh my. You know who has great musculature is my boyfriend Brad. He is a blonde Adonis. I don't know if anyone has heard George Takei, who is Spock, aka, I mean, not Spock, Sulu. He speaks very fondly of his husband, Brad. And, yeah, it's pretty funny. He's gotten himself in trouble before. He's kind of a perv. Not in a bad way, though. It's just, dude's in his 80s and he's still a horny dude. But it's cute. Hey, what's up, Garrett? Yeah, I almost didn't. That original link I had posted all week, I had one on my, launched and started up today, and nothing was working. All my sound, my OBS, nothing was working. I had to like cancel that stream and reboot and reset up everything, and then just start an all new stream. So, but now it's working. So I'm here. Not too much longer though, because it is been going for about a little over an hour now. I do like about an hour and a half. I'll sign off. Because my wife's home tonight too, which doesn't happen often on weeknights, especially when I'm home, because she's a flight attendant and she's gone a lot on trips for like several days at a time. So when she's home, it's kind of cool to take the time to hang out. Or even if not, sometimes our hanging out is just talking to each other from different rooms. Like I'm in here and I can see right out the doorway to where she's sitting on the couch playing Diablo. But it's cool, we just chill and talk to each other from a few feet away and do our stuff. But I love doing that. That's why we're married. We do that shit all day. Enjoy it. She is obsessed with Diablo. She's I don't know if any of you played Diablo or the new Diablo, but she plays it in hardcore mode, which those who aren't familiar, hardcore is when you make a new character and you play through it, but if your character ever dies, they're dead forever. You can never play that character again. So
I died.
Oh, did you really?
I died.
I'm talking about that right now. I'm literally talking about playing hardcore in Diablo.
Dead.
Her hardcore character just died. I'm sorry. Oh my god. I jinxed it. Wait, he was at level 97! Oh my god. She got up to almost level 100 with him. It was a druid guy. Yeah, perfect timing. Oh man. Although she's pretty good spirits about it. I mean, she's done that like a dozen times now. Yeah, I know. I did. But she was pretty high level though. She like level 100 is pretty much. I mean, she was already past the max you can get with a character. So, but the character had a body like me. He's the druid. So I might have to cosplay as him. But yeah, like if I got that far in a game and I died, I would just completely lose my shit. I would be angry for a week, and I'd probably never play the game again, and I'd probably write an angry letter to Blizzard, even though it's not their fault. Hey Garrett, yeah, it's on the. I got it going on the screen so you can see from both places now. Yeah, well, she didn't instantly kill it, Kruff. She's actually been playing that character for over a week, a couple weeks now. Quite a while, so. But yeah, I can hear her loudly weeping in the other room, but I'm not going to screw it. No, that would actually be what I'd be doing if I died, but she's just like, oh, whatever, I died. I would be so angry. But I'd probably never play on hardcore anyway, so. Because I know I couldn't handle that. Yeah. I'm not even sure if she heard me talking about it, like how much it was jinxed or not, because she just opened, because I had the door closed actually, so I'm not sure how much she can hear, because the game is pretty noisy, so I didn't want it coming in on the background of the audio all night. So it might have just been impeccable timing. Because she gets pretty locked into the game too. Like, I could be sitting right beside her talking and she won't hear it because she's like super focused. Partly because of that, she's in hardcore mode and die easy, so you can't fuck up. What is... Damn, look at those medium... Yeah. What are Russian twists? Oh, I see. Okay. I'll have to look it up when I'm at the gym tomorrow. Do some... I've been doing Bulgarian split squats. A perfect time to work in some Russian twists too. Let me get the old international workout plan going here. International routine. I've already got... I do a lot of kettlebells and that's Russian too, so I've already got some Russian flavor in there. Sit the jam going right now. I keep being conservative with shadows, but I think I need to just go with it. Trying to do more high contrast instead of just line work. Still keep taking it easy on it, but it's just hard shadows from an overhead light. It's not going to show all this shit. Oh my god, yeah, they had Joe Rogan's face on them. I know Joe Rogan actually used to sell his own line of kettlebells that had well, it was a partnership with an actual good kettlebell place that I have kettlebells from here at home, but I forget what I think it's Kettlebell Kings. But they did a whole line where like one was a gorilla head, they had a Darth Vader head, and they had a couple others too. Well, maybe one was Joe Rogan's face, I'm not sure. I wouldn't know now though. I used to listen to that guy so much, but he became such a kook now. I can't really listen anymore. It's like I liked him when he was just a curious listener and would have interesting people on, but now he's like feels like he's an expert now. He's like very opinionated, and it's like, no, that's not what I listened for. I don't. You're not a scientist. I like hearing you ask curious questions of the scientists. Even if it's kind of a wacky science, you know? It's sort of like an innocent curiosity, even if they're kind of wacky. So that was kind of fun. It's like you got that Spotify deal and moved to Texas and just went crazy. Not the same guy anymore. It's weird. I mean, some people still dig him, but I mean, it's not even the politics thing. It's just his style of show. Like I was saying, he's like one of the fellow experts now instead of just curious. Yeah, it's been driving into the sunset for a long time. It's a very slow sunset. Yeah, I tried a couple times to dive back into his podcast too, because sometimes he'd have really interesting people on there. Like whenever he had Neil deGrasse Tyson on, I'd always try to listen to those. But the last time I listened, he was just being a real asshole. He was calling trans people it, and I was like, okay, well, that's the last straw, so you can go suck a dick. Not that that's a bad thing either. Not quite the insult some people think it is. Yeah, that's true. I'm doing this little freelance gig for a guy's toy that he wants to make. He's gonna have it made, and it's an old animated show that had toys that he's from like the 70s that he's gonna relaunch. I can't really say what it is right now, but it's pretty fun though. And some of the old product photos had pictures of like these kind of glowy ground grids, like very synthwavy, with mountains in the background. Just like the typical synthwave thing with the sun in the back. And he was like, yeah, I wonder if we could get something like this to put, because I'm doing like individual shots of the characters, and he's like, it'd be cool if like, would it be possible, like how much work would it be to get something like this as a backdrop? And like 20 minutes later, I sent him a 3D render of it, and he's like, what, how did you do that? I was like, dude, I mean, all my animation is all synthwave and techno and stuff, so I was like, I've already done that a million times. It takes me like 3 minutes to put together a synthwave grid on the ground with the sunset. So it's like, dude, that's like pretty much pre-made on my computer. Yep, called him it. I was like, dude, what the fuck? That was like before the pandemic, actually. Now if I think about it, maybe not, I don't remember. Everything's such a time warp now, I can't keep track. Ever since the pandemic, I can't remember how long ago stuff was. I ran into I had lunch with an old friend the other day. Well, a friend of mine was visiting town, and another friend that's also friends with them came to the lunch to hang out and say hey. And her and I were chatting it up, and we're like, yeah, I haven't seen you in a while. And I was like, yeah, I think it's been like 4 or 5 years. And she's like, no, it's been 12 years. I'm like, oh my god. But it's true, like, everyone lost at least 4 years over the pandemic that you forget you didn't see people. And it went by so fast and weird that it doesn't feel like it either. It's like this weird blank in our lives. Yeah, it's true. I mean, well, because it's kind of rooted in the past, so if you expand on it, then it's technically no longer synthwave. I don't know, but yeah. I mean, that's a little bit what I'm trying to do with mine a little bit, but it ends up just being a hybrid of other stuff, so I'm not sure if it really counts. I've been combining synthwave with like rockabilly stuff in mine, so like that combo. Yeah, right. It is Wednesday, my dudes. Ah! Alright, I actually gotta wrap up in about 5 minutes. I do gotta do a couple things before bed, and I actually need to use the loo. Not to be TMI, but you know, if I'm a few minutes from wrapping up anyways, I might as well just puff it out a couple more minutes and then wrap it up. But I'll probably go live again this week too, and finish this guy up and be working on my Punish comic more too. Usually, a lot of the time I'll work on my Punish comic on the stream, which is what the title of it says. But the current couple pages I'm working on in Punisher right now they're cool and important to the story, but they're a little, I think they'd be a little boring to watch drawing, you know. Cool poses and cool characters and action is fun to watch people draw. These are just like, you know, a guy walking with his daughter on the street, and then he's in the hospital and nurses are looking at him and stuff, you know. So I think I'm gonna power through those pages if we can get to some good stuff again, and I'll just do some fan art for a few days. And fan art's always fun anyway. Don't mind an excuse to do that and try out new things, you know, a little simpler style like this. Oops. But it's getting there. If I darken it up, you can kind of see his whole... Yeah, there was his whole roof out, but that's coming along. Let's see. Yeah. It looks like this random hand down here. Like 3 hands, what? Is that AI? Yeah, especially nowadays, Mr. Dina. You never know. Even your own family. I've definitely lost some family recently from current goings-ons in the world, which is unfortunate, but that's the way it goes. You can only put up with so much evil, direct evil towards people you're with, and it's coming from your own family, and that's a deal breaker. Not blood family, but kind of extended family through marriage. Still a bummer, but it is, I guess. Oh yeah, I'm doing alright. Emotionally and all that stuff. It's partly because I'm doing my Punish comic. My emotional period. No, yeah, I mean, when we first met Garrett, I was like in the trenches of it. I wasn't even over yet. Plus, I think the first time I met you, I had just gotten over a really bad cold, or I got sick right after. I think I got sick right after that, actually, like the next day. I was fucked up. But yeah, I was kind of emotionally struggling too. Two deaths in the family, and then soon after my cat died. Cat sort of was helping me keep it all together, so that was just like, I was like, oh no, I don't have anything, I'm gonna lose it. But yeah, it's... Oops, these broke off. I gotta make these photos. Yeah, I mean, I didn't really talk about it at the time either, because it was a little too raw, you know. I mean, even now I won't elaborate on it, but at least I can mention it without breaking down, you know. But that's how I came up with the Punish comic too, because I was just like angry and upset, and I just was like a rage writing, trying to be creative and feel good about it, and it felt really good and cathartic to just... It's like my version of like what they do in Japan. They have these rooms where you can go in and just smash dishes and chairs and wood and stuff like that, sort of get your aggression out and feel better. That's sort of my version of that during doing a violent comic. Hey D-Man, yeah, I was actually wondering, I hope he's doing alright. I mean, I've chatted with him, he's doing alright. Chuck and I chat sometimes too. Him and I did not last weekend, but the weekend before, Rob, Chuck, and I did that stream, so it hasn't been several weeks, it's been a couple weeks, but yeah, hopefully he's just busy, get back on it soon, or nothing more than that. Maybe sometimes you just need a mental break from streaming too, because it can be a little taxing. It's fun, but it's also taxing, because you can't, it's not as casual a drawing always. You kind of gotta be paying attention and drawing. You can't just like sit back and doom scroll for 15 minutes while everyone's watching you on stream. You can do it in your own time, which is good and bad. Keeps you focused, because that's also a time waster. But sometimes you're just like not in the mood. You just need a mental break from being social, I guess. Especially us as artists, we're all probably mentally fucked up in some way. We all have our issues. That's why we're creative geniuses. Sure, dude. What's up? Like, you mean here, or you want to talk to me offline about it? Does it involve me wearing revealing clothing? No, just kidding. Oh, okay. I think I know where you're going with this. Which reminded me, I was wondering, it crossed my mind when I was driving around the other day. I drove by this Silver Lake bar that's called Skechers, I think it's called. But it has nothing to do with art, or something like that. It was like an art name, but it had nothing to do with art. And it reminded me of that drink and draw thing you did that one time. I was curious if you guys had ever gotten together for that again. Oh yeah, like where we went to the Mahoney thing. Okay. Oh yeah, storyboard club. Like you thinking like instructed of some sort, or like a drink and draw thing where people are just getting together and making boards and drawing and stuff. See if they even notice. They probably won't even get it. Then we'll be all bummed out. We'll be acting sketchy too. Oh yeah. It's tough to get groups of people together to do stuff like that, to like finish it too, you know? It's cool, but man, yeah, people are flaky. I'm not one to talk, man, because I do the same thing. I get excited about stuff like that, and then I overcommit, and then a week later I'm like busy or tired or something comes up, and then before I know it, I haven't even been able to attend for like 3 weeks or something, so. Actually, more than that, I've always wanted to just have one of those studios of just like a bunch of working artists where everyone has a desk in there that they're working on all day. It's like your office away from your like work, you know, your freelance employees working in your own office, which would be from home, but instead, you know, a lot of artists don't work well at home. They need to get out of the house, change the scenery. You know, just like the old Image guys, you know, they would have a studio with like 20 people in there and everybody be working in their random hours and just hanging out, working long hours, cranking art, having fun, and just like creative vibe going and stuff. That would be really cool. But you know, that scenario, everyone already has work too. You're not really searching to get work, so you've already sort of got a head start. Yeah. Dude, I don't blame you for being in an anti-networking phase, especially right now. I mean, so I've been working, thankfully now, but I've definitely been in a similar situation trying to get work in the past, and just month after month after month of some networking, attending events, sending out 20 resumes a day, and just getting nowhere, and you're just like, fuck all this shit. I don't want to network with another single person. I don't want to hear another buzzword like that stuff, you know? By the way, I'm drawing Stryker here, and I refuse to draw his full real hairstyle that he has, if anyone's familiar with him. He has this hair, but then he has... Let me save first. Oh my god, I haven't saved in like an hour. Don't do that. I'm so good about saving, and when I'm streaming, I forget. But yeah, I'm gonna do a profile view, but yeah, Stryker's hair is like... Here's his face, his ear. You know, his hair is kind of short with like these things on the front, and it's kind of short, but then he's got this. It's so goofy. It's worse than a mullet. You know, so. Yeah, it's tough, man. It's so hard to get consistency going with like even just one or two people. Yeah, like when I'm saving like every 15 minutes when I'm not streaming, I'm actually really good about it, but I just get caught up here. Same thing, I'm paying attention to chat, making sure the audio is working, and trying to stay focused on drawing, and, you know, don't find myself Googling for 10 minutes forgetting that I'm on stream or something, you know, as everyone disappears out of boredom. Yeah, it's weird too, like, Gary, like, I don't know if this is a symptom with other people too, but what happens with me sometimes too, though, is like, it's partly why I retreat to comics, and because it's just me. Like, sometimes working in this industry, it's all very collaborative with amazing artists and doing cool work, but you know, it's always like a committee of approval, and sometimes you just want to like not deal with anybody else, just work on your thing with no one to answer for, no one to comment on it, and no one else that needs to work on it. It's just you. That's what I love about comics too. Which is cool to do around other people too, but sometimes I get more inspired to do that than to collaborate on another project, even if it's all ours that we created as together. But yeah, I don't know. I change my mind on it constantly though. Oh yeah, dude, that's the way to do it, Mr. D, man. Especially nowadays, you gotta bet on yourself. Get your own thing going. You can't rely on anybody else, especially now. That's partly why I'm doing this too. I'm trying to, I mean, I got a decent industry job right now, but I mean, they've had so many layoffs over the last year and a half. I could go at any time. Gilbert. It's scary, and I'm always nervous about it, so I'm trying to actually expand out of what I currently do. You know, kind of grinding on freelance gigs at night whenever I can handle it without getting too burnt out, to try to build up more clients and opportunities so that if I ever did get laid off, or eventually just go back to full freelance where I mean, the thing that's cool about being like a freelance illustrator with a lot of different clients and stuff is then you're sort of recession proof, or like it's proofing against stuff like what's going on right now. Like if you have a big gig and that company shuts down or they cancel their project, you know, you lose that work, which is a bummer, but you might only be out of work for like a month, and you know you have 6 other clients that are planning to give, that are repeat customers that you've worked with before, and they're somewhat consistent with work every year, so you're probably going to be getting some work from them over the next couple months by somebody, you know. And you can also look for others, so you can sort of relax a little more. I mean, it's not 100% true, but that's part of just when you're an individual freelancer and you build relationships with certain clients and just do continual work. So that's kind of what I've been trying to get going now. Got a couple of those. Yeah, the hiring thing, Garrett, stresses me out too. I'm like, you know, I'm doing illustration, but I also do Blender gigs, and I'm trying to get some more videos and commercials. Commercials pay great. I mean, you could bust your ass on a commercial with a couple other people if it's like a big company, and you could make enough to take the next 6 months off, you know. But it's stressful though, because like, hey, say I have a meeting with somebody, and this is hypothetical, but let's say I have a meeting with Apple, and they're like, we want you to do a little 20-second animated spot in your style in Blender, and we need it in a month, you know. It's like, you do some storyboards, get them approved, but now you actually have to produce it in a month, which is like animation, rigging, modeling, texturing, everything. That could take you a month before you even start on shots, and so then you have to hire people. And I don't know, I mean, I've met a lot of people over the years, but I don't know if I know enough people directly that I could just staff up. I mean, I know I don't. I wouldn't have any idea how to start that. I don't know how to deal with, how does the payroll, because I'd have to pay them. How does that work? You know, like, I don't have a business. I don't know. I try not to think about it until time comes. Well, there you go, D-Man. Where is that logo? That should be your your icon everywhere you post. Get people familiar with that. Alright, you know which. This guy needs a little work. I think next time I'm going to change this arm. I think it's a little too short and weird. And it shouldn't be over his shoulder, I think. Actually, I'm going to make a note for next time. I'm going to wrap up in a sec here, but I'm not digging this arm completely. So I think what I'm going to do is cut it onto its own layer. So then if I want to... See, I think that's looking pretty decent as far as progress so far. It's that arm that was bugging me. If I turn that back on, it's like, yeah, it's looking weird. Maybe if I move it down, that might be better actually. If I move it down there, so it's coming from behind this shoulder, that kind of works better. Okay, but yeah, I'll play with that next time. But at least it's on its own layer now. And I'll remember to do that one. Actually, I'm gonna leave it there. Okay. At least I start. Hey. Yeah, it's a little slow. I'm using Stream Elements right now. They might be a little slow. I've been trying different people's. Sure. Yeah, real quick before I sign off. Propose a fix. Save me. I know a lot of other people draw 3 arms on one side, but it's new for me, so. But yeah, I was trying to do streaming with OBS through StreamYard too, which has less lag, but but for some reason my audio started getting choppy after I went up to you last time, so I don't know. Okay, cool. And second off, yes, I'm waiting. Give me your wisdom, guides. Michael Mc... Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, I'm going to pull that out and look at that later, actually. That's a good idea. Thanks, dude. Yeah, I'm going to check that out, because I like this flow, too. Yeah, it'll be a good, like, you could make a really nice sort of pattern, you know, like, almost like animation, you know, like a nice flow. But yeah, because I have his books right beside me here, so... Yeah, you're right. Yeah, thanks, dude. I'm gonna check that out. It's a good idea. I'm gonna check it out and reference it, and then maybe in a couple days I'll probably jump on again in the evening and continue on this guy, and you'll see see what I come up with. Because I'm not gonna work on him. I'm gonna try to finish him on stream. So, all right. Well, thanks for that. That's a good ending, though. Thanks, Garrett. And thanks for hanging out, everyone. Yeah, I think I can do what you're saying though without changing this gun. I think if I change that other arm, I can kind of make something like that working. Like maybe not back, you know, maybe not holding it so profile. It could be kind of arching around the front like those other arms, you know. But you know, keep the silhouette strong. You know, it could be like. So don't mess anything up. You know, it could be coming around like. Keep the silhouette here, this negative space, but have the gun, you know, maybe coming around here like this or something. Yeah, there's the gun. That's gonna be terrible. You know, like each gun has this sort of flow around the front of them. Like that could be interesting. Just get the foreshortening right on it. Yeah, especially if you have a visual you're thinking of, let me know, or a page or something, because I have all his books too. So yeah, let me know. Shoot me a text. All right, dudes. Thanks, Mr. D-Man, Garrett. Who else is still here? Cruff, you're still here. Appreciate it. Gil Panda, good to meet you. See, Evie was here earlier. Thanks for hanging out. If you're still here, and yeah, not tomorrow. Probably, if not Wednesday night, probably Thursday. I'll probably stream. So, and then yeah, because I get home pretty late on Wednesday nights. So, yeah, no, I'll tell her. But yeah, see if she even heard. All right, y'all. Catch you later, man. See ya.